Welcome. This is G. Yes, another episode of All Astrology. We are going to take a look at a subscriber's birth chart. What sort of vibrations were you born with? It's your family, the home life, your desires and your passions, your hidden shadow side that you might not acknowledge or want to acknowledge or want anybody to see or hear about. Predispositions, your strengths, your weaknesses, all that and more. Here we go. First thing we look at on a person's chart, we see that based on this person's birth date, which is June 6, 1957, that makes them a Gemini. Okay. And so your dates, literally the day itself, they match the degrees of the sun. The sun moves 1 degree a day. So in this person being born on June 6, 1957, that makes them a Gemini at 15 degrees and 27 minutes. And so here's my cursor. I forgot to say that. Here's my cursor up here. And just follow it. I'll try to remember to go slow. And it just lit the sun up. Sun in Gemini, 1527. All right. The next thing we look at is their ascendant. Now, that may not seem to be like a big deal here because this person has a matching sun and ascendant sign. Your ascendant is what is directly on the eastern side of the chart. So this is an ascendant Gemini, right? The same as their sun sign, right? Gemini at 22 degrees and 20 minutes. That's how you read that. 22 degrees and 20 minutes. Sign of Gemini. So they are a double Gemini. Their sun is in Gemini and their rising sign is in Gemini. The sun is your energy and it's how you radiate. It's how you shine, right? Makes a whole lot of sense. Some common sense things here. The sun is how you feel rejuvenated in your energy. Okay. And if it's in Gemini, that means talking and relating. It's all about thinking and communication and keeping track of stuff. That's what Gemini energy does. It has kind of like this saleswoman type of energy to it. Now, we can't ignore the location of the sun. And where is it? In this person's 12th house. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, okay? The sun represents your birth date. Your rising sign is your birth time along with the birth location. So this person was born at 6 a.m. in the morning in Evansville, Indiana, right? So that's how we get their ascendant, which is the same as the rising sign. And that rising sign and ascendant, they're the same, two different words, but they mean the same thing, is all about your physical body. That's when this person popped out of the mama's belly, literally, at 6 a.m. And then it just tells us a lot about how they will physically look when we meet somebody. We'll look at them, and based on this rising sign, we could say, oh, wow, they hold the features of Gemini energy. And what's Gemini energy? A talker, a salesperson, someone who can likely be maybe quick on their feet and kind of be fun, who likes choices and options, who can be flexible, who may not be fixed, right? Now, because it's the ascendant, it's how they appear. I talk about it as the cover of your book. You are the book, right? When we have a book or a movie, we look at the cover and we get a certain idea, right, of what it's going to be about. And that's what the ascendant is. It just gives us an idea of what you are, right? Of what you can be or where you've even been or where you're going. Doesn't necessarily tell us all the good stuff. All the good stuff is all of this. And as human beings, we are incredibly complex. Even the human beings that seem pretty straightforward, right, and simple, we're just complex individuals because we are under complex influences. And so every planet you see here, I'm not going to ask you to look at them, or I'm not even going to talk about most of them, actually. They all make up who you are. All these houses, 1 through 12, they all make up who you are. These represents areas of your life, 1 through 12. And so that takes me back to your sun. I said I was going to mention it because it's in the 12th house. So a little bit of information about the 12th house. And this is important to know if you want to kind of better understand some of your characteristics and your traits. If your sun is in your 12th house, a person whose sun is in their 12th house has to have alone time. You have to have moments where you step back and where you kind of just chill and no one else is around. Doesn't mean you got to be that way all the time, because a person who's a Gemini is actually not like that. A Gemini person wants to be around people. They like to talk. They like, this is sibling and coworker energy. That's Gemini. Someone who's always yipping and yapping. So it's online, it's social media. And if they can't do that, they can go across the way and be at their neighbor's place, right? Or they're going to keep in touch with their family members, or it could even be people in your life that feel like siblings. Okay, again, this is just the cover of the book. Doesn't mean it's really who you are deep inside. Your sun being in your 12th and needing to refill and to refuel and to recharge and rejuvenate, it says, I got to be alone. And if it doesn't get that alone time, it will not rejuvenate. It doesn't have to be, for like all hours, crazy time, right? It just means certain times throughout the day, you got to have that alone time. Okay. And because it's the 12th house is, let me put it to you like this. The 12th house is Jesus. Okay. Jesus in the garden, Jesus had to go pray, right? That's what the 12th house is. That's what Jesus did. Okay. So it's just making time for yourself, recognizing you need to have alone time, and you have that Gemini energy there. So you need to be alone with your thoughts. And it's a creative energy because it's the 12th house. So there might be some things that you do or that you've been thinking about doing. And because this is the house of dreams and fantasy, the 12th house. Yeah. This is the house of the person who makes movies, fantasy, sci-fi, the director, writing scripts, plays. Yeah, you got Gemini energy there. And Gemini is the scribe. It is the writer. Okay, so you might have some really good ideas because remember, this is social media. This is YouTube. It's the internet. It's the news, the reporter, I should say. But it's in the 12th, so you might be reporting upon things that are about stuff that happens behind closed doors because it's the 12th house. The 12th house is the hidden. It's stuff we don't readily see out in the open. Taurus represents my values, my money, hidden values, hidden desires. Now you also have Mercury there. So Mercury's thinking about money. Mercury's thinking about, okay, what are ways I can make money? And these may be things that you may not share with other people. You may just, some people do stuff and they don't tell the whole world about it. And it doesn't mean it has to be something embarrassing or shameful or bad, right? Like many times, I've often thought I will start another YouTube channel, but nobody would ever see my face. And I would definitely not use my name. I would do something different because I have lots of other interests, right? But this would totally be this 12th house stuff. It's like an alter ego almost, but it's where you could express your hidden desires. And if it's in money and values, like for me, this would be all about gold and coins, right? And I probably shouldn't have said that, but I love the detail and it's metal. I love, that's a Taurus thing and a Vulcan thing, forging metals. And so I really love that. Like I love printmaking, which is, anyway, I won't get into more details about that, but that's also Taurus. Taurus is very artistic. It's the voice. It's the spoken word. That's Taurus. You have Mercury there. So it's interesting because you have an abundance of Mercury thinking energy in your 12th house, dreams. I would love to know what your dreams are about, sister. Maybe you should share them in forms of writing about them or talking about them or making movies out of them or manuscripts of some sort or music of some sort. Like this is a super creative energy and you have your South Node there, which means this is your superpower. This is your superpower. There is an inability, though, to handle change. Like making changes happen in your life, changes occurring over what you value. There's a stubbornness to it because this is your superpower. You have your South Node in Taurus. Your South Node is your soul's power. All right. And if it's Taurus, Taurus is earthy. It's all about the earth. So think about food, right? Things that pop up out of the ground. What does the earth do, right? The earth provides for us. So food, making food beautiful, making people beautiful. Taurus can be a very nurturing energy by feeding others. That's the 12th house. You remember what Jesus did with the fishes and the bread? It's the servant, but it serves humanity. Humanity is your family. The earth and all its inhabitants are your babies, and feeding them. That's what Taurus likes to do. Taurus is good with the earth. Okay. Taurus likes things that are peaceful and beautiful. But remember, it's also the 5 senses: smells, taste, touch, sound, and things we can see aesthetically beautiful. That's what Taurus is really good at. So if your South Node is there, remember that's your superpower, which means like you might be a bit stubborn. There might be something about what you desire and you value, because that's Taurus, what I value, that you don't want to change. And you're not going to be aware of it because it's hidden from you. And this is tricky. It's hidden from you, right? So how are you supposed to be aware of something that's hidden from you? It's in your 12th, right? Which makes it hidden, right? I mentioned 12th is hidden. So it's like you have a superpower. It doesn't mean you don't do it, but you may not see it. Meaning other people in your life may look at it and be like, wow, you're really good at that. Did you know that? And you may kind of brush it off. You may kind of feel like it's nothing, right? You may even kind of like belittle it, thinking everybody does this. Everybody has this ability or these talents, but that's not true. Your South Node is in your superpower is hidden from you because it's in the 12th house. Now, this doesn't mean that at this day and age that you still don't know about it. What happens is over time, as we grow, we become more aware of our subconscious 12th house, our subconscious energies. So there's a lot of words for the 12th house: subconscious, dreams, the hidden, Jesus in the garden. What about Jesus in the first 33 years of his life? That's the 12th house. It's hidden. All right. So you have subconscious thoughts about things that you value. All right. Because your Mercury is in your 12th house. Now, what I want to share with you is that when somebody has their Mercury and Taurus in the 12th house, this can also be you're getting information through your dreams. You're getting uploads, you're getting downloads, you're getting information because the 12th house is the house of the divine. Journal, start writing stuff down if you haven't done it. This will help the 12th house become open to you. If you're interested, this is something, it's a journey you got to take on your own. Just pay attention to your thoughts that you keep, pay attention to desires that you have that you may not vocalize out loud, that you maybe hide from other people. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not about being sneaky because you've got so much 12th house energy. It's just, there's a lot of creative power here. And so all this energy, the best way to use your 12th house sun, to use your Mercury 12th house, to use your South Node 12th house and your Taurus is to create with it. Create however you like to create, whatever that may be for you. I will say that Gemini is strong energy with hands. All right. It's hands. Absolutely. So whether you're sign language or using a knife and cooking, whether you're crafting and creating, whether you do something literally artsy, for me, I like hands-on stuff. Your moon is down here of Libra. And this is beautiful because your relationships. Libra is all about fairness within relationships. Libran energy is significant one-on-one relationships. So this could be marriage, business, partnerships. You have your moon there. This thing about relationships, the reason I'm saying all this is because you have a 0 degrees Libran moon. And it's in your 4th house, which is the moon energy. All right. Home and family, significant relationships. And this screams mom energy. So whether somebody else, you're a mom for many, or you have many moms, right? This is important for you. Super, super important. All right. There's also something about being a server or servant because you have Jupiter in Virgo in the home, serving in the home, serving your family. This is also extremely important to you. All right. There's something about servicing in these simple, practical, everyday things that you're going to excel at, but you need to be careful of being overly critical only because it's Virgo energy. Okay. Virgo is the servant of those who are important in your life, but it's the day-to-day things, it's the routines, it's the tasks, it's the stuff that other people don't think is that important. But it is, it's the domestic side of life. So food again pops up with that and it trines, look at this 22 degrees, it trines your Mercury at 21. So this is super powerful. It means this is, it's a way where your hidden values and your values about your desires and food and communication and being vocal and just anything along the Taurus energy of the 5 senses and the earthy stuff. Okay. The smells, the taste, the touch, the aesthetic beauties. Okay. Again, this can be money. It trines your Jupiter energy, an absolute trine, which means it adds ease to your life about being in the home, being a servant in the home, people you're close to, mom, significant female energy. So I'll say significant female because it doesn't have to even be females in your life. It can simply be individuals who exude or who radiate a strong feminine quality. Okay. So when I use the word mother, you could be that mom or somebody else can be that mom, and they don't even have to be a female. They can be, but they don't have to be. All right. So there's something there. There's a partnership, right? And it's important. And it gives you emotional satisfaction and stability in your life because that is the moon. That is the fourth house. My emotional security. That is your moon. That is your Libran energy. It's all about fairness, all about beauty, all about goodness, all about being diplomatic, and in our relationship there should be the conversations that are diplomatic, like there's this diplomacy factor. But I want you to be careful because anytime someone has Libran energy, there's fairness involved. But if it gets to the extreme, people don't realize what happens is we can take our fairness thing and we go like up a notch, like two or three, and we take it to a whole nother level and we try to do way too much. What happens is sometimes we can become control freaks without even understanding it because our idea of perfection, because this is also a Venus energy here, which is also Taurus. It's a Venus energy. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So strong Venusian qualities, food, smells, taste, touch. I want the good side of life. I want quality. I like material things even. But if it's at 0 degrees, it can go extreme and not even know it. All right. So these are just things you would just want to be aware of and know that that moon is very close to your fifth house cusp line here. Your fifth house cusp line's at 2 degrees in Libra. And so it's kind of got this business and relationship energy. But if it's on the fifth house, here's the thing that you must know. For anybody listening, your fifth house energy is your fun. It's your creativity. It's also children. Your creative projects are your children or your physical children. But it is also how I take a risk with my body. So for you, it's how you take a risk in relationships, the risks that you take, how you take a risk in relationships with our shared values. And you're going to have a hard time understanding what shared values that you take risks with because you have Neptune there in Scorpio. Neptune is our blind spot. For all of us, Neptune represents someone has come up behind us and covered our eyes. And so we can't see, right? And so it's not until we are way, way, way older till we learn to see clearly, because that's what Neptune wants us to do. It wants us it teaches us how to see clearly, meaning it doesn't matter what someone has said or what we read somewhere. We have to learn to discern. That's what Neptune does. It teaches us discernment about our shared values for you. Discernment about shared values in the fifth house. And that's taking risks with my own body. Could be risks. Well, it absolutely is because it's Scorpio. Risks with our money, with my money, with our shared money and values, and business partnerships because it's Libran. But it can also be our significant one-on-one relationship, which is like the person I'm married to. Gambling, taking risks with it. Okay. So it's a tricky setup you have because you have Neptune there. All right. Now I want to point to one other thing because I didn't want to make this too long. But recently, if I were to go onto the current planets, I have to talk about this for you. You have Jupiter going through your 11th house. Aries is where I am. I'm the warrior, where I'll fight, where I will not step down, where I can be impulsive, where I can sometimes just go off like that. That's Aries energy. We all have it within us. It's the Marine, literally. So it's sporadic energy. It doesn't last long. It's bursts, right? But you have Jupiter going through there. Okay. So for you, you're going to have Jupiter going through your entire 11th house, which by the way is filled up. Your 11th house is friends. It's your social circle. All right. It's the internet. It's humanitarian causes. So if Jupiter's going through there, it looks like you're starting up some humanitarian friendships, meaning people you'll be friends with, I want to do this and help. I want to do this because this is needed right now. And if it's in Aries, it has to do with people and their physical bodies. And it could have to do with the appearance of their physical bodies. So there's something altruistic that you're going to be engaging in. Just keep in mind that Jupiter energy, at times it may land on some of these planets that are here in your 11th house. Okay. I know I just clicked this outer chart up and it's confusing. These are the transiting planets up in the sky, right? Mars is there right now. So recently you had Mars on top of your Pallas Athena. Remember, Mars is the warrior. It's Aries energy. It can be combative. Um, you just want to be cautious. There may be times where you may want to say things or lash out. Right now, I'm recording this. It's June 20th. And this Mars is is squaring your natal Mars. Your natal Mars is in Cancer at 2034. What I will say, when someone has a Cancer energy in Mars, okay, it can be depression. It can be bouts of depression. It can be moments of, where we just don't feel real good in our feelings. Okay. Mars is squaring it, so it can bring stress and tension for you. Okay. So this will pass. It's not long. It is, Mars is already at 1947. So we've got like 2 more weeks of Mars transiting through here, but it will, within 5 days, 5 to 7 days, it will no longer be affecting your Mars energy. So right now you've got a lot of energy and strength. Okay. But just remember that might create a little bit of combativeness, impulsivity in taking action. Like, hey, this is a great idea. I'm just going to do this. Just make sure you're talking about it first and understanding that whenever we have Mars, for all of us, wherever this Mars energy is, it's impulsive. It doesn't have patience. It doesn't think, count to 10 first and then talk about it and then see if it's a good idea to take action, because that's what Mars does. It gets this idea and then it just rushes to it and takes this action. It doesn't think first. So Mars is striving to be the fine wine. Being in Aries, it's all about me, 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 right? So if you've got Aries energy in your 11th house, you definitely want to shine. Aries wants to be seen and heard in the 11th house, right? It's like, I may have friends, but I may alienate myself from those friends because it's a very independent energy. Aries is extremely independent, which means you're going to have friends who are also extremely independent, right? Who stand out from the crowd, but who don't mind doing things alone. They don't mind if, the independence factor they like. They absolutely do. And that's you. That's you. Absolutely. Friends who are independent, just like you. So this sometimes for people, especially when they're younger, this would be physical activity, being in sports and stuff like that. 11th energy, right? People who can do independent physical actions. Like these are Marines and soldiers. It also carries weapons and knives, right? So I mentioned something with Taurus energy and using a knife. So just keep in mind though, as Mars moves along, there will come a time a little bit down the line, and I'm actually going to jump ahead for you just so that you can see this for yourself. Anytime anybody has Mars squaring Uranus, I always give people a heads up. I always think it's super important to see it in advance. Yeah, we're talking, July 4th, July 5th, July 6th, July 7th, July 8th. So yeah, keep all that in mind, all those dates. This Mars right here is going to start squaring your Uranus energy. Okay. Now, your Mars and your Uranus energy, they're in the house of values, the second house. This is your money, right? It's the same as this Taurus energy because Taurus actually rules the second house. This is your moolah, your income and your money. So be careful. Okay. Don't be too impulsive with your money because Uranus in Leo definitely would be, I am courageous with my money. Uranus is very quick, very fast. It's like lightning. Leo is, I want to take a risk. I have super courage here. But if Mars ends up squaring it, which it is, beginning July 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, let me give you a date all the way through, all the way to July 12th. So you've got almost a 10-day window where you want to be careful, okay? Because this Mars squaring up with your Uranus, there's an urge to be impulsive. Resist it if you can. With a steady rein, you are able to break through obstacles in innovative ways. All right. So sometimes when people move too fast, they get these ideas because there's this urge to do something, especially if we use equipment, right? If we use tools or knives or whatever, I don't know if you're a handy person or because I know a friend who was doing work on her home and the Mars energy was all a flutter because we have Jupiter in Aries. And so it was all like, got to get this done, got to move fast. There's no time to waste. She cut herself, she hurt her ankle, there was a lot of accidents. And that's what happens. Whenever Mars angles Uranus, there's surprises and shocks. And it's basically just because we were rushing or we moved too fast or we didn't just stop and think first. So this can be in the ways that you communicate, but it's over something that you value. All right, because it's in Taurus and it's in your second house. It may pertain to children because it's in that Leo energy as well. And it's not just children, but it's my creations. And it's also the way I radiate and express and communicate. It's whatever it is that you're being creative with. Matter of fact, on this day, July 12th, the sun sits right on your Mars. It's a day where you're going to be filled with a buttload of energy. That's actually going to be like July 11th and July 12th. You'll feel like a surge in energy. So that will be a good time to get something done, but have it be something that you had planned in advance, right? So on your calendar, just plan something in advance where something that may take a lot of physical energy, okay? Or even use it as a time to maybe do some optimism, some inspirational, some positive inspiring words or actions, whether it's for somebody else or for yourself. Because again, when the sun touches on that Mars, Mars can heat things up, right? It can inflame things. So it can inflame your emotions. It can inflame your body, right? But it will be a very powerful time where you're trying to get things done. And so it doesn't mean it's bad energy. It's just seeing it in advance, just know how to channel it, like what project to put it towards. And because it's in Cancer, that represents the home. It represents something with a family member. Okay, there's communications with family members. So you just want to remember to with Mars energy, it's a tool. Don't let it control you. You have to control it. And you will be full of that sort of energy the first 15 days of July. So just plan for it accordingly and you'll be okay. Just remember, the universe is with you. All this energy, everything I'm reading here and talking about, this is all divine knowledge. These are the breadcrumbs that were left along the lines for us to be able to read to help us. This was the knowledge handed down. So I hope this helps.